And then obviously it's not just football, right? It's basketball too, and they're a totally different play calling.
Right.
It's different sports, different things. Is basketball easier than football?
That's a good. I do baseball, basketball, and football, and I get asked a lot, which do you enjoy the most? And that's like asking, which of your kids do you love the most?
It's the firstborn, obviously.
Whichever one will take care of me in my old age is the answer. They're all different. I mean, they're really different in how you go about trying to call them. I think my favorite is basketball because I played basketball. It comes a little more naturally. It flows for me more naturally. The terminology, the coaching, the thought process, what's trying to be accomplished on the floor, all that kind of stuff comes naturally. A basketball game is quick when you're calling it. It's fast action. It's almost a continuous flow of words trying to describe what's going on the court in front of you. I see it, mouth calls it, boom, 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 boom. And I like that. That's a lot of fun. I mean, it's a runaway roller coaster, and you got to hang on. But for 2 hours, it's about as much fun as you can have. Baseball, I've probably listened to more baseball on the radio than anything else. And I think a well-called baseball game is romantic. I mean, you've got 3-4 hours with a listener. It's a slow pace. There's about 15 minutes of action in that 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of dead space to fill with storytelling. What does this moment mean? I call a lot of games by myself. And there's an artistry to being able to call a baseball game in a manner in which people want to listen. That's a hard thing to do. But if you can do it well, like Vin Scully, and like, a lot of guys in the pros, but if you can do it well, then it's probably the hardest thing to execute in play-by-play.
Yeah.
And I love the challenge. I love baseball, the sport, and I love the challenge of trying to put forth an interesting baseball broadcast. Football is the monster. Football at OU is the monster. Yeah. The actual call of the play is very regimented. There's almost a formula by which you need to call each play. I need to set up the formation, I need to describe the action, then I need to give the down and distance and the time and the clock, and then I get out of the way for the color analyst to talk, and then I do it all over again. Yeah. What's the formation called? So there's a formula to it. It's very regimented. There's a little room for creativity when somebody actually throws the ball or runs the ball. Not as much as in basketball, but it's the totality of an OU broadcast. I mean, it's a 7 or 8 hour broadcast. Yeah. We've got 10 or 11 people that are working on it. We've got 85,000 people in the stands, 35 radio affiliates, and it's streaming all over the world. And we hear it, we hear from people in Israel and Russia and Japan who are listening up in the middle of the night to an OU football game. And so you add all of that up, and that's what makes calling a football game special.
Yeah.
The actual calling of a play, I wouldn't say it's the most fun you can have, but the totality of the broadcast is what makes your blood rush for OU football.
Yeah, that impact and reach, and like you said, you have someone halfway around the world who's woken up, set their alarm to listen to an OU football game, and you're the voice that's giving them the action. I tell you,
I think the coolest thing and the biggest compliment you can get is when we look out of our press box window and people are wearing headphones in the crowd. And you think, there are people who have no option but then to hear us. They're in a car on a cross-country trip or whatever, and the radio is their only option. But then there are people at home or especially in the stadium who have decided, I want to experience this with you.
Yeah.
I don't have to. I could just watch the game. Or if I'm at home, I've got a television broadcast. I don't have to turn down the TV and turn up the radio. But they have decided that they prefer to experience an OU football game with you and with your crew. And that's cool. That is really cool. We look around and we're on the road or whatever, and you look down and you see people wearing headphones and stuff, and you're like, golly, that's so cool that that's a lot of effort to go to bring it to the game and tune it in and decide to experience it with us. That's pretty